Good evening, everybody. We are back with another session. We had just finished one session with Professor Priyadarshi Patnaik from IIT Kharagpur. Before that, we had a session with Satakshi Bhanot, Miss India Charm 2021, and we had learned some secrets from her. Then before that, we also had a session with Major General Sanjay Soi. He talked about how to make a happy nation, a great nation. And before that, we also had a session from Ministry of Happiness for the 90 minutes by Mr. Jitesh. We talked about few elements of the life balance sheet. Each session that we are doing since morning is making us dig deeper and deeper into our consciousness, and we are able to see, like, there are so many ways, or should I say, there is a kind of a bungalow and you have to go inside, and there are many gates, there are many doors to enter. So each speaker who is coming, they are opening one or the other doors so that we can enter into our consciousness, or we can enter into our world consciously. Today, now should I say, now we have another giant, or you can say giant speaker, or you can say a revered speaker, or should I say uh, most honorable mentor that I can have. We have Dr. S.K. Cosmic Kapoor, sir. Sir, very good evening and welcome to the event.
Yes, so Professor Nathan, you are doing really wonders. You are making us happy that knowledge is actually the real source of bliss. The Vedic way in which I have tried to explore myself, I have to try to see how our ancestors.
Sir, before you start, I will just inform the audience about your magnanimous profile in few words.
All right, all right.
So the person whom you are witnessing right now is a very humble person. But if you go back into his backgrounds and his experience, it is unbeatable. And in the world of Vedic mathematics, you can say, like, Sachin Tendulkar is the god of cricket. Similarly, you can say Dr. S.K. Cosmic Kapoor sir is the god of Vedic mathematics right now in India. And if government is working in India and making some plans for working in the area of Vedic mathematics, or they are making Vedic cities, something like that. So the importance of Vedic mathematics is very relevant nowadays, and sir is in the lead personalities or the lead thinkers, academicians who is supporting the government, and government is depending on them. So a brief profile, though I'm not apt enough to even do justice to read his profile, but being the presenter of the session, I have the opportunity to say a few words about his profile. Dr. S.K. Kapoor, he is a Ved Ratan. This is the title given to him. He has done his MA Maths in 1967. He has done his LLB in 1970. He retired from Haryana Superior Judicial Services in 2006. His first PhD thesis was Mathematical Basis of Vedic Literature. His second PhD thesis, Structural Frames and Systems of Samved Samhita. So normally people don't even do one PhD, and you have, say, two PhDs. So I am feeling humbled, should I say, I feel inspired to do one more, sir, by listening to that service, academic background of yours. He is awarded Shri Guru Gangeshwaranand Ved Ratan Puraskar in 1997 in appreciation of excellence in the field of Vedic mathematics by Bangalore chapter of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan for lifelong research and service in the area of Vedic mathematics. Right now, he is based in Haryana, Rohtak, and he has almost 30 books to his credits. If you go on Amazon and you just type his name, S.K. Kapoor, you will always find one embedded part, cosmic. So he has added the word cosmic because he has a realization that whatever work he is doing in the area of Vedic mathematics is a kind of a transmission of consciousness into this world where we are living. So he has added that word cosmic. So he says Dr. S.K. Cosmic Kapoor. So welcome once again, Dr. Kapoor sir, and Charan Vanna to you, sir. And
So
we have
nice, so nice, so nice, Professor Arora. You have added many things, but in our humble life, we are in a cut-off period from our ancient wisdom times. Vedas are our ancient wisdom reservoir. We are cut off for some reasons, historic or otherwise. This domain has been dormant for all these few centuries. Need is to revive it. India is the land of Vedas and India will revive it. We are technologically going into such domain where non-human presence will always cause a concern for us and we will require unhappiness. Your happiness design scheme, your this efforts, this opportunity for all different discipline people to come together, but to think and to talk about the happiness. Though my area of academic research is Vedic mathematics, but seeing your theme and your way of putting up the life in a different jacket, I am also curtailing my thoughts. I am also tailoring my speech, and I want that I should talk about Vedic way to acquire consciousness for joyful beings. The catchword is Prasanna Atma. English may have its own translations, but Gita gives a caption word. It is Prasanna Atma. So the Atma, the soul, is to be there if we have to be within the happiness domain. This takes me to that Vedas is a very rich, widespread domain. We are cut off, but just to give us some idea that there are four Vedas: Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Samved, and Atharved. Rig Veda has 21 branches, Yajur Veda has 101 branches, Samved has 1000 branches, and Atharved has 9 branches. These 1131 branches are there, but only half a dozen of them have reached us. We have to revive this entire domain. Now, each Vedic branch is having its own distinct Samhita, Brahmana, Aranak, and Upanishads. That way, 4,524 scriptures, Vedic scriptures, make the Vedic knowledge. Out of it, we are having, say, about 34, 35, maximum 40 we are having. Rest all has to be revived, are to be revived, and our real happiness will be when we will be blissfully reviving all this domain, the Vedic domain. Now,
so for the participants, sorry to interrupt. For the participants, those who would be wondering, okay, Vedic mathematics, what they have assumed or what they have thought, कि Vedic mathematics ऐसा होता है, वैसा होता है, and what you are going to witness in this session will be an eye opener kind of a thing. That Vedic mathematics that we assume कि plus minus fast कर लिया, multiply fast कर लिया, that you can divide fast, you can multiply fast, and few things on that. This is what we are being told by the various Vedic mathematicians in India and abroad. Whatever books we are going to read or what we have read so far, they talk only about that. How to multiply fast, divide fast. But what
Vedic mathematics that way is the mathematics of the universe. Vedic mathematics is the mathematics of the existence phenomenon. Vedic mathematics is the single discipline, integrated discipline of each and every aspect of what is happening within human body, or what is happening on earth, or what is happening in a solar universe, or how this unisolar universe is manifesting itself, demanifesting itself. This is one way of looking at. The other way to look at is Vedic mathematics is the mathematics of organization of knowledge, the way knowledge should be organized, how the whole range of knowledge is to be made as a single discipline. We don't have to have chemistry, physics as separate disciplines. Both are to be the aspects of a single integrated domain. So Vedic mathematics unifies, Vedic mathematics goes parallel with the nature. Vedic mathematics is as the nature is. Therefore, addition, multiplication, or elongations, projections, coefficients, and all that, these are just very, very small fractions, some very small, very, very small branches of a tree that is there. Those are also there. But Vedic mathematics is the mathematics of a knowledge organization. Vedic mathematics is a mathematics of the existence phenomenon. Vedic mathematics is the mathematics of solar universe. And ultimately it will come to how the intelligence field acquires consciousness base. This is Vedic mathematics, how we have to think, how we have to meditate, how we have to tune ourselves that our mundane body and a subtle body, our subtle body and a causal body, and even the foundational base of the causal body as well is to be reached at, to be worked out, to be exploited, or to be utilized, or to be availed, or to be worked out, to be processed in whatever the way we want. Then how human body can make its own medicines, how the mind will create its own field, how the intelligence field will acquire its own consciousness base. These all are the domains of Vedic mathematics. These days, what is happening is that we are just feeling as if physical matter is the only matter. So three space or a linear order progression or physical world is not the Vedic mathematics domain in its entirety. There is higher dimensional reality. There is a reality beyond three space. How the Charam Chakshu, these physical eyes, will transform themselves into a Divya Chakshu, the transcendental eyes, or how the transcendental eye will transform itself into the knowledge eyes. These all are the systems which are inbuilt in the human body. So human body is a compactified setup of distinct formats. The outermost format is a mundane body, Sthul Sharir. We have not to restrict ourselves only up till it. We have to dive deep. It will take to the Suksham Sharir, the subtle body. We can't afford to remain only up till the subtle body. We have to go beneath it and we have to reach the causal body. Even causal body will not suffice us. It will not give us the complete happiness which we are urging, what for we are destined, and will go to Antakaran, the ultimate sports. So the students of knowledge or the sadhakas, those who want to be face to face with the those who want to be face to face with the reality of one's own existence, those who want to know oneself, they have to go the Vedic way. They have to go the Vedic mathematics way to see how the reality functions, how the out, how the reality is to be chased. And Vedic mathematics is for that. Now, we have to begin with the human body. So the beginning for sadhakas or the students of consciousness is to be the beginning with the human body, how life is there, how the existence phenomenon is there, and how the existence phenomenon is to be approached. So the existence within human frame is to be worked out as a mathematics, as a mathematical steps, is a technical way of looking at it. But from the today's concentrative theme as to how human beings can be happy, how there can be joyful life, or what happiness really means. For it, we have to begin with a human body. And this human body is not only up till the mundane state, not only up till this Sthul Sharir, it is having beneath it a Suksham Sharir. We are not to depend only upon the organs. We have to go a step ahead to the senses. And we can't restrict ourselves only up till the senses. We have to go a step ahead to a mind. We can't restrict ourselves only to a mind. We have to go to the intelligence field. We can't restrict ourselves only to the intelligence field. We have to go to the consciousness base. And then we have to see how this nature is simultaneously handling living and non-living beings both. For it, we have to follow the way our ancestors had reached this truth. And this truth is preserved and is being available with us as Vedas. Now, Vedas take us to the Vedangas, and for Vedangas, we go to the Vedanta, and Vedanta ultimately takes us to the Gita. Therefore, those who are not in a position to go through the entire Vedic literature, then he can begin with the Gita. And with the Gita as well, one can begin with chapter 6, Atam Sanyam Yoga. So those who want to reach at the impulses of consciousness as foundation for the intelligence, for them, beginning maybe with chapter 6, Atam Sanyam Yoga. And it is here where the meditation process, meditation technique, the way intelligence is to be provided, consciousness base is to be learned. So consciousness as happiness source can be visited, can be imbibed only by being face to face with, as to how the Antahkaran, the ultimate sport of the causal body, of the mundane, subtle and causal bodies, these three layers of the bodies have to be transcended. And we have to be parallel with how these three states of body are being sustained by the consciousness. So consciousness in itself is such transcendental river which has its own source, its beginning, its end, its in between, everything is absolutely different than what we can visit or what we can glimpse or what we can project while we are at the mundane state or we are at the subtle state or even when we are at the causal state. The Antakaran is of four distinct phases and stages, and mind is the first. From mind, we have to go to the intelligence, man to buddhi, and from intelligence, we have to go to the consciousness. And from consciousness, we have to remain cautious as it will take us to ego, ahankar. So if we want to be prasanna atma, then we have to have a prior stage of prashant atma. We have to have sublime peace first. If there is a sublime peace, if there is a prashant atma, which is Atam Sanyam Yoga, which is the beginning point, the beginning for the sadhakas of the consciousness explorers is with the sublime nature of a peace. If one can glimpse and imbibe and can attain a prashant atma state for the intelligence, only then one can expect that his subsequent progress stage of prasanna atma may follow. So reach from prashant atma to prasanna atma, a reach from jeev to atma, a reach from being to soul. The being to soul is the real journey of individual sadhakas. we can distinguish sadhaka 1 from sadhaka 2 only in terms of the index of his Prashant Atma, sublime peace attainment index of the individual. And only then we can say whether or not this being, this individual soul will be attaining the ultimate phase and stage of a person Atma. Therefore, the happiness, if it is to be translated and is to be accepted or is to be indexed or to be taken up as if it is somewhere of the form of a person, Atma, phase and stage, if we are taking up by definition, we are saying, technically say, our happiness would mean person Atma. Then if our happiness is a person Atma, then it will not remain restricted only up till the Jeev, being. We have to take it, we have to split it, and we have to see that being itself is a manifested state. Being is a conditioned state. Being is conditioned because of the body in which it is manifesting itself. So being gets immediately linked up with the body. And once something is linked up with the body, then it naturally is linked up with the mundane body, with the subtle body, with the causal body, and the ultimate antahakaran, the ultimate sport of the body will be at distinct place. It would be a different phenomenon altogether. Therefore, for the sadhakas aspiring for being Prasannatma, they have to first ensure that they are Prashant Atma. They have sublime peace state for them. For this sublime peace state, one is to be first in unison with the functional operators of the mundane body, the organs. Then one is to be in unison with the Suksham Sharir, the senses. Then one is to be in unison with the causal state, that is the mind. So mind is a biggest hindrance. It is a biggest hindrance is the mind. And the mind resides back after creating its intelligence field. So from mind, we have to reach the intelligence field. We have to evaluate, we have to judge, we have to index the state of existence of a sadhaka at a Karan Sharir only in terms of what type of intelligence field stands created by the mind of that being. The intelligence field itself is there for attainment of a consciousness base. If the intelligence field fails to create the consciousness base, then again, it is just a mundane state of things, and the further block happens, stands created, comes into existence of its own. It is only when one is at the consciousness state that one can hope, one can expect, one can aspire, one can urge that the next stage may follow for him during his present lifespan. Gita ensures that those who have glimpsed the consciousness base of the intelligence, they, even if don't transcend that stage and don't become the Prasannatma, even then in the next span, his beginning would be from that very stage. Therefore, the sadhaka's real happiness is that it transcends intelligence and lives parallel with the consciousness base of the intelligence. Once the consciousness base of the intelligence stands visited, and once one is conscious of the consciousness base of the intelligence, then one has a confidence that if not in this life, then in the subsequent life, he will certainly attain that phase and stage of a Prasanatma. Therefore, we have to be true to ourselves, and we have to introspect ourselves each and every time. And Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in the end, as Shloka 65 of chapter 18, preserves that Lord says, I am there. Lord says, I am supervising. Lord says, I am regulating, and I am regulating while sitting in your own heart. Therefore, reach from mind to heart is there because of the consciousness base of the intelligence field. Those who are not having a reach from mind to a heart, they certainly are yet not on the consciousness journey of their life. We have to be on the consciousness pilgrimage, and for it, beginning is to be from the mind. Not only that, we have to ensure ourselves that our beginning is to be with the intelligence field. Not only that, then our eye shall be always upon whether or not transcendence from consciousness is towards the heart or not. If the consciousness pilgrimage is of the direction from mind to a heart, then and only then one can think that he is a sadhaka. He is on a right transcendental meditation format. The transcendental meditation format means all mundane, all subtle, all causal, and initial two phases of antahkaran, man and buddhi, stand already transcended. So the beginning for the sadhaka of the transcendental path is at the middle of the antahakaran. The middle of the antahakaran would mean a phase and stage in between intelligence and consciousness. So once we reach at the middle of intelligence and consciousness, means we stand linked with intelligence, but yet simultaneously we also stand linked with the consciousness. If that phase and stage occurs, then one can say that yes, his journey from Prashant Atma to Prasanna Atma has begun. And this beginning is the only beginning, and this beginning has its own end reach. Rest, God says, those who are on my path, it is my duty, it is my responsibility to take him to the ultimate eternal abode. Therefore, my studies of Vedic mathematics take me to that let us not make knowledge as fragmented rooms, as fragmented cabinets, as a small dibbas, so that the comprehensive view always remains within the comprehension site of the consciousness, and it is only the consciousness which will meet all limitations and restrictions of an intelligence. Intelligence may be a very good weapon, but still it is a weapon. It is not a fruit, it is not an answer, and it has no positive thing at all with it. It is like a knife. It depends upon the user. But consciousness is a total different thing. Consciousness is a juice. Consciousness is a fruit. It has a health in it. It is a different thing. It is not a knife. It is not a weapon. It is a fruit. So, in the initial phases and stages of the yogas of Gita, the sermons are that don't have your eye upon the phal, upon the fruit of your karmas. Because fruit is such a sublime thing which works of its own, under its own designs, under the designs of the consciousness supervised and regulated by the Lord. So this way, all what can say, all what can share is that let us introspect ourselves and let us try to index whether or not we are having consciousness base for our intelligence or not, and whether or not we have started pilgrimage from mind to heart. If we are on that pilgrimage path, rest will follow of its soul.
Thank you, sir. I think the beginning that you have made from that Sthul Sharif to Sukshma Sharif, Karan and Karanatit. So for a layman, it will be very much like in rocket science for some people. Some people, it will be a cakewalk, like a moonwalk, like a Michael Jackson moonwalk he does on the stages and all that. But as we have planned the discussion that question by question, we will move on after you introduce the topic. So since Vedic mathematics, as people understand, is basically multiplication, division, only on that. What is the first step that you would like to enlighten the people? That what is the first step of Vedic mathematics from this perspective? What you're talking about? कहाँ से शुरू करेंगे वो सब? मतलब this is a spiritual sciences, something like that. So spiritual science.
So see, once we take that nature is not making separate compartment for physics and separate compartment for chemistry. Nature is having his sun, and within rays of the sun, it is putting up itself in such a form that it is an answer for everything what is required on earth. So therefore, our knowledge shall have a comprehensive base. We shall have a single alphabet. We shouldn't have different alphabets. We don't want numbers as a separate thing and bodies as a separate thing. Numbers are just counts. These are counts for a meant for something. And it is to count something. And that something which is being counted are the bodies. Therefore, numbers and geometry and interrelationship between two, the correlation between the two, which we make it an algebra, is not a distinct thing at all. It is a one and same discipline. So once we will start approaching one as a one space, as a one body, as a one object, as one earth, as a one sun, then one doesn't remain a number one only. One becomes different things. So Vedic mathematics is the mathematics which approaches the existence phenomenon, the entire knowledge domain, as a single discipline. So once we will start approaching, say number one, and we say 1 cross 1 is 1. Now this 1 cross 1 is an area and 1 is a length. When we start confusing ourselves, once we are not deciphering and making a difference between unit length and unit area, then certainly we are not understanding what for this mathematical tool one is. So these numbers are tools. These are mathematical tools. These are to be applied properly. And if we learn how to apply these mathematical tools, say only the numbers, So only in terms of the numbers, we can sequentially reach at the geometries and algebras and the calculus and all other aspects or the names, the topology, whatever the names we are giving to different features of this knowledge reach by these tools. So tools are few, but their applications are very large. If we learn all more and more applications, we'll be entering more and more in the mathematics of a nature. So nature also is functioning. Nature is computing our age. Nature is rewarding us. Nature is punishing us. Nature is rejuvenating it. Nature is making its own chemistry. Nature is making its own physics. Nature is making and all types of phenomena. So our knowledge shall be organized mathematically, which would mean Vedic mathematics.
So there are many teachers who have joined from different schools and some colleges. So if they would like to understand, like if they have to introduce Vedic mathematics, some of them might have done it already, but they are doing at a very niche level, at a very basic level. So if they want to integrate these high level mathematics, which includes consciousness and more than 3 dimensions, you said 4 dimension, 5 dimension. So how they would like to, from where they can get this knowledge?
The Ganita Sutras are only 16. There are only 16 hymns. And there are 13, say, ancillary hymns. There are 29 rules. These are called sutras, 16 sutras and 13 upsutras. If we approach these sutras, the way these sutras are organized, let us learn first Sutra 1, then we reach at Sutra 2, and we sequentially reach at Sutra 16. If we will follow the Sutra's way of organization, then sequentially, inherently, we will be acquiring all these potentialities as these have been organized in such a way that these start unfolding from within. So only difficulty is that some hymn for some application is picked up at some place and then it is left. Then another sutra for another application, for other instance, another illustration is taken up and is left somewhere. Requirement is that these sutras shall be approached as mathematics, step by step. And if we will go through these, then certainly entire Vedic mathematics domain will follow of its own. Need is that we should approach Vedic mathematics the Vedic mathematics way, and the Vedic mathematics way is to approach it sutras, sutra-wise. First sutra be taken up first, then second sutra, then third sutra, and ultimately 16th sutra. So only answer for these difficulties is that if we approach it as a complete integrated discipline and we approach it sutra-wise, then it will appear to us as a discipline, not as gimmicks or some magic or some tricks.
So, sir, Vedic mathematics of consciousness, what is the first step?
The first step is introspect, talk to yourself. See, you know the difference between organs and senses, whether you know the difference between senses and mind as a supermost sense, whether you know the difference between a mind and a chit, man and a chit, whether you know the chit is having outward flow and inward flow both, how the intelligence is to be transcended, how the values of intelligence are to be taken up only as a tool like a knife, and intelligence in itself is not an answer.
Once what is the first step? What is the first step, sir?
First is look to your body. Well, how much you know? How much you know about your hand? How much you know about your eye?
What is the meaning? What is the meaning of this knowing my hand and knowing my body? What is the meaning of that, sir?
Meaning of that is
how maths is related with that.
Yes. If we have 5 fingers and we don't know how these are coordinated, how these 5 fingers, for first 4 fingers are having 3 tips and thumb is having only 2. Why we are having 2 hands? What is the symmetry of a body? So this body is a crystallized, manifested setup out of the laboratory of a nature, how it is coming out. If we will knowing it, what it is, then we'll knowing the medical science, then we'll knowing it, all many things about the body. So start is with look at your own body. How is it the doctor knows more than you about your body? Why? If you know that I know less about my body, then you will start learning more about your body. And
So,
learning
sir,
more.
you mean to say those who are doctors, they are Vedic mathematicians? First step, clear.
For me, it's a very clear thing. Whole knowledge is a single discipline.
And the first step is to become a doctor.
The first thing is to be parallel with the nature. You know how nature is as it is and how I am
No,
part of
sir.
that nature.
Just to play
How I
with.
am part of that nature.
You said, sir, the first step is to know the body. Now you are going to nature.
No, I'm still saying know your body.
So we become a doctor first of all.
You,
You become a physiotherapist first of all. Is this my assumption
Of course, you
going
may
on?
become a soldier first. It depends upon how much you are knowing about your body. You may become a good typist. You could be good blacksmith. You could be good carpenter, depending upon how you are looking at your body. How
Right,
much
sir.
you know about your body.
What is the outcome of knowing our body? What is the next step
The
after that?
outcome is that ego will wither away. First thing is you will not have an ego about yourself. You will be knowing your limitations. It is not only that by looking to your body, you will looking only to your potentialities. Limitations as well be coming to your light. So your ego will wither away. And if ego goes away, rest all follows.
What is the next step after the ego goes out, sir, in Vedic mathematics?
Then know the senses. How the difference between eyeball and seeing is there.
So where is mathematics?
You will be entering the second layer of a body. You will be entering the Suksham Sharir. The organs outside, the many people look healthy outside. When they go to the doctor, he says, you are having cancer. So the Sthul Sharir and Suksham Sharir are differently formatted. The functional entities are different. The functional apparatus is different. The coordination is different. The mathematics is different. Formatting is different. Values are different altogether. So don't stand restricted only at the skin level. As we say, don't remain only at skin deep.
So, sir, you mean to say Vedic mathematics will not start unless we have finished our ego and we know our senses. उससे पहले शुरू नहीं होगा.
No. I say, if your ego starts withering, you say you are learning Vedic mathematics. This is all what I can say. Not that Vedic mathematics will begin with egos withering away. Ego will remain. You start learning Vedic mathematics, start dealing with the ego.
So it means you are saying that the 29 Upsutras, they are the wholesome thing for Vedic mathematics, and we have to apply those 29 sutras to decode the intelligence.
1, consciousness. 2, life cycles. 3, how this solar universe is rejuvenating, how it is transforming.
So for a layman,
how the trees are different.
So for a layman who is listening to you for the first time, though I am with you for many years, I can digest whatever you were saying. But for a layman, a teacher who has never heard of,
for a layman,
what are the three things
yes,
for the Vedic mathematics in a simple, like a pill, like a vitamin pill.
No numbers 1 to 9. If you know numbers 1 to 9, you know all whole range of numbers, because these become numerals for a place value system. You write every number with 9 numbers. So no numbers 1 to 9.
They know it. Number 2, sir. Next point.
You see, If you know numbers 1 to 9, you know why 1 is different than 2. What is the difference between 1 and 2?
Maybe a difference of one number.
If I say 1 and 2, what should be the next number? Naturally, by this sequence should be 3.
3.
But if I say 1 is 2 raised per 0 and 2 is 2 raised per 1, the next is 2 raised per 4. So knowing about these numbers is a whole thing. If you know numbers 1 to 9, you will be knowing 1 space to 9 space. Then you will be knowing starting with Ek Akshar Brahm up till the Nav Brahm. So the entire knowledge, the Vedic systems have successfully made these things as a compactified layers. With one layer, another layer follows. The another layer follows. The another layer follows. Things are not organized by the God as a long bamboo. He has made it cycles. Within one cycle, another cycle, another cycle, another cycle, another cycle. How this is being organized is to be learned. This is mathematics. If we handle numbers 1 to 9, we can write all the numbers at a 10 place value system. But why we should have 10 place value system? We should have 6 place value system as well.
So can you give one example of a Vedic mathematics applied in a normal situation of a curriculum of any examination of like a school or a college level?
Periodic table. Periodic table. How the 108 elements as per the present knowledge and 120 elements as per the Vedic exploration. How these numbers are organized. These numbers are organized along a geometric format of a line, square, cube. These are called hyperbodies. And then interval is having 2 endpoints. So a raised per 1 is 2 a raised per gives us coordinates 2. Square has 4 lines. It gives us 8 coordinates, and 8 is 2 plus 6. Then we'll go to the next. It will be 18. Then it will supply you the geometric answer as to why the periodic table is organized as it is organized. The modern mind has settled this periodic table after experiments of more than 200 years. And still there are loopholes. But Vedic systems, as a Vedic knowledge, has deciphered out the periodic geometric table. Once geometric format is there, then rest water will flow in that river, in that stream, in that way within the banks.
So what is the practical application of some of the discoveries of Vedic mathematics? Like once a common man can understand that this is where it is being applied. I'm sure there must be many ideas. I heard
we don't require a telescope to measure the distance of the sun. Our intelligence there can make models with the shadows of the small bamboos and give you the calculation of the distance of the sun from the earth or from any other planet. So only thing is, if we are not dependent upon anything else other than intelligence, then intelligence itself is a very big tool. And this intelligence, how is to be developed, how intelligence to be enriched, how intelligence index to be increased, it will be only if we will be following the organization of the Ganita Sutras. If we are knowing Vedic mathematics, if we are knowing the way numbers are to be handled, if we know the way the arithmetic operations are to be handled, if we know the way the algebraic equations to be handled, if we know the way the geometric transformations are to be attained, if we know how the one metal stands transformed into another metal in which way, then we will not be requiring these machines which will become an artificial and redundant tools. The need is, let us develop an intelligence. Let us take the intelligence to its optimum. Then when it will start becoming a worse tool, then we'll go to the consciousness. That's a different thing altogether. We need a knife for a certain purposes. And knife is to be dispensed with after certain operations. That's a different thing. But if the aim of the knowledge, aim of the mathematics is to develop an intelligence in a mind. How the innocent mind is to be made perfect intelligence mind. If this is the poser, if this is the question, then its answer is go to Vedic mathematics.
I'm sure, sir, we have to spend so much we have to buy many nights, it means. We have to buy many nights.
Nature,
So,
naturally. Nature is very, very rich. Nature is very, very wide. Nature is very, very deep. Nature is not putting its all designs before every mind. That mind is to be conscious enough about, and if mind is to approach respectfully to the nature, and that respect will follow only if we approach the knowledge way. Gita says, Shraddha से शब्द में जाएंगे तो ब्रह्म आपके सामने नाचता हुआ दिखेगा. तो इन शब्दों में, इन वेद के शब्दों में ब्रह्म है. ये शब्द आकाश है. इस आकाश में शब्द है. शब्द ब्रह्म है. शब्द के अंदर अर्थ है. शब्द के अंदर रस है. शब्द में बुद्धि की आवश्यकता है. किसी को वो शब्द गाली दिखता है, किसी को वो शब्द प्रसाद दिखता है. तो वो शब्द के अंदर ब्रह्म किस तरह से अपना खेल रचना रचा रहा है, उसको जानने के लिए हमें श्रद्धा से जिज्ञासा पूर्वक पहुंचना होगा. श्रद्धा और जिज्ञासा के बिना, प्रयास और वैराग्य के बिना अगर कुछ प्राप्त करना चाहते हैं तो पशु तो हम हैं ही. इतना तो हमें प्रकृति ने अधिकार दे ही दिया है कि आपको पशु तो बने ही रहने देंगे. आपको भूख लगेगी, आपको खाना देंगे.
right. I think we have reached to a stage. So, do you wish to say a few more things about the topic that you wish to?
Only thing I would say that let us be humble, let us respect the nature, let us accept the existence of a creator, let us accept that one who has a potentiality to create, he has the potentiality to supervise and regulate as well. The existence of a God is to be accepted fully. Once the existence of God is accepted, then its supervision and guidance also will be accepted. And once that is accepted, his presence in the one's own heart will be there. So once God is always with us, what else is required?
Based on your talk, I would like to play a song with the deep meanings that you are trying to say to the audience. And I'm sure audience will be able to relate the song and the words that you have spoken in a different manner. So if you allow, I will play that song.
Please, praiseworthy. Ji. Yes.
Palak, just check the voice is coming.
Yes.
Is the voice coming, Palak?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this is the song that you are trying to say in Vedic mathematics. We have converted that somehow into a song. I hope you and the audience is going to love it, sir. We hope so.
उठ जा, उठ जा बिटिया, उठ जाना बिटिया रानी, ओ मेरी बिटिया रानी, उठ जा, देख सुबह हो गई। जाग जा, नई सुबह छोड़ दे सपना, सोती है कितना, अब तू जग जा, होश में आ जा, आ जा अब तू, सपने तुझको बहला रहे, देख तुझे वही रुला रहे, वापस फिर क्यों सो गई, सुन रही तू या नहीं, समझ ले सपनों की भाषा, जिंदगी है एक तमाशा, खोल के पंखों को उड़ जा, मेरे चेहरे की खुशी बन जा, सोचना क्या खोल के दिल, मौका है तू खुद से मिल, समझ ले बिटिया सपनों की भाषा, जिंदगी है एक तमाशा। जाग जा, देख हम सब हैं साथ तेरे, पल पल हर पल पास तेरे, सुन ले ओ पगली हम हैं तेरे, धड़कन से भी करीब तेरे, छम छम जैसे पायल तेरी, धीमी जैसे चाल तेरी, होश में रहना हर घड़ी, सीधी साधी बात मेरी, गाना गा के होश रखना, सपनों को तू खेल समझना, गॉड की मस्ती ही समझना, जो मिला अच्छा ही मिला है, हंसते हंसते रोज उठना, उठ जा रानी बिटिया मेरी, सुबह हो गई रानी बिटिया, हो गई रानी बिटिया।
So this is, I think, in Vedic mathematics. So I think in the Vedic mathematics, many people are sleeping as per your indications. They have to go to very deeper levels of the self introspection and the ego melting, and then this kind of a wisdom, which we say is realization. As you said कि श्रद्धा के साथ शब्द तक पहुंचोगे तो वो नाचता हुआ आपके पास आएगा. So something, so this was a kind of a portrayal of that understanding that you have given in a song format. I have also made it. So I'm sure people will be able to just see that it is knowing oneself is a part of Vedic mathematics of consciousness. Unless we are not able to know oneself, or should I say the process, Vedic mathematics is a process of knowing oneself, and the outcome of that is Vedic mathematics. We heard about that famous Indian mathematician Ramanujan. It is said that he pours mathematics comes out of his brain just like that as he breathes. And a question was asked, how mathematics comes to you? And he always says it is the Kali Ma, it is the
Yes.
During
night, Kali Ma used to come to him and had given the imprints of all mathematical thoughts which he expressed in the morning after rising.
Yes, and he has given many theories of mathematics. At that time, it was black hole theories he has given. At that time, there was no even concept of black hole, which only we recently discovered. There is a concept of black hole, but he has given the theories and the formulas of black holes at that time when he was there. It takes time for us to understand maybe that consciousness-based mathematics, which we call as Vedic mathematics. Has the time come for them? Are people ready to go into this deep level of mathematics? I'm sure Corona has taught them, taught everybody that life is fragile, and unless we go in a deeper sense of meaningful life, the shallow way of living will
Yes,
not be of
you
use.
see the parallelly different ways of approaching the nature are to be given a proper opportunity. Vedas deserves it. Vedic knowledge deserves it. Vedic mathematics deserves it. Let us respectfully give Vedas, Vedic mathematics and Vedic systems a place, and we will be rewarded. This is all what I can say from my experience.
Thank you, Dr. Kapoor sir, and
Thank you, sir.
it was an honor to welcome you at this platform of FDP, the Technical Development Program. I'm sure more programs will be there where you would like to decode Vedic mathematics step by step. Participants must be, you can check out Amazon. When you check out Amazon, you will find dozens of books of him on Vedic mathematics. Maybe if you get time or you got interested into Vedic mathematics, you can get one, and you will know the flow of mathematics that has gone into those books. I have the chance to read few of his books many years back, and still I am not able to fathom, because my area is not mathematics, but though I am trying to understand it. But this is how the connection goes between him and me. Okay, we are trying our level best in our areas. Sir is a genius, or you can say the Sachin Tendulkar in Vedic mathematics domain, and the government is taking his guidance to develop this field in India. And if you happen to hear Vedic mathematics being implemented in India, you will definitely come across his name behind that. He will be the man behind that Vedic mathematics implementation in India. And we are looking forward to that times. Thank you so much, sir, once again for your kind presence.
My best wishes to you, Nitin. My best wishes to you.
Thank you so much, sir.
My best.
Dear participants, we will be closing for the day, and tomorrow morning again we will join at 10 a.m. with the Ministry of Happiness. Will take over the session at 10 a.m. and we take over the journey of third day of FDP from tomorrow onwards. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much.
Sir, can I close the session?